Hey guys, I was on Twitter this morning and I realized that we're at the 25th anniversary of the original PlayStation. Can you believe it's been 25 years ago since it was first released? And Sony was doing a hashtag for it, 25 years of PlayStation, and they were saying to everybody to share what their favorite games from every system were. They went through from the PlayStation original to PlayStation 4, but first thing I noticed, the handhelds weren't represented. They were part of the Sony PlayStation family, Vita and PSP, great systems, and me being me, I did my top games and included the Vita and the PlayStation Portable because they were very important, especially the PSP. It had so many great games on it. It was like a real mecca for anybody that was into JRPGs. There were so many great games, and trying to go through what my favorite game for each and every system were on this wasn't that difficult, but the handhelds were, because there was a lot of great stuff on them. And for the PlayStation Portable, this is actually my favorite game, Liberty City Stories. This was set back in the 80s, the decade where I was becoming a teenager. So the music from this game really took me back to that decade. It was a great music from the 80s, one of my favorite. But what they're able to do with the Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories, I still get these two games confused, mixed up. But Vice City Stories, Liberty City Stories, what they were able to put into their handheld systems was phenomenal. I didn't think we would see a full-on 3D GTA game on these things, and we did, and it was so amazing, and it is my favorite PSP game. Now for the PlayStation Vita, it was a toss-up between a few games actually. Uncharted: The Golden Abyss, which is great, which was built for the Vita. Also there was an Assassin's Creed game which was built from the ground up. But one game that really did catch my attention, I do consider this to be a forgotten diamond, is Gravity Rush. Now this was released on the PlayStation 4 remastered. The second game was released on the PlayStation 4. It didn't really sell that well. This is a great franchise that had so much potential, but because it was on a system that nobody really bought, the PlayStation Vita, but to me it was one of the best games on that system, and the way it used the controls on the Vita was really great. I've often said the Vita was a system that was so overlooked by Sony, but yet there is so many great games out there on it, and I've got probably close to 120 games in my collection, making it my largest collection of games on any one system is the Vita. But this is a great game. Definitely is a forgotten diamond. And yeah, just a shame that Sony didn't think to include the Vita and the PSP in this list. Now let's move on to the original PlayStation. Man, who would have thought we would see something like the Final Fantasy games, which were exclusively for the Nintendo systems, come to PlayStation. That was a massive move from Square Enix to bring it over to the Sony PlayStation, because mainly CD-based, DVD-based discs, whatever it was back then, you could put so much more onto a disc than a cart. But one game that really did stand out for me for the original PlayStation, and is still in my collection to this day, is the original Tomb Raider. An amazing game. I've spoken about this game before. Forget about Indiana Jones. This was way better than any of those Indiana Jones games that were being released back in this era. Fantastic game, and there's so many times in this game I thought I was getting close to the end, but it just kept going on, and that's because of the level design and also being on a disc medium, which you couldn't do this on a cart, no way. Truly a groundbreaking game, it really was. It's just, yeah, after 25 years, this is still in my collection. It's just, yeah, amazing. It really is. Yeah, my favorite. Now moving on to the PlayStation 2, so many great franchises on the PlayStation 2, but my all-time favorite franchise for the PlayStation 2 was the Ratchet and Clank series. Really cool. I always loved my 3D platforming game, 2D platforming games, but I noticed with the original PlayStation, we weren't seeing that many 2D platform gaming. Sony was really pushing for 3D stuff, and I felt that when we got to the PlayStation 2, what they were able to do graphically was a lot better than the PlayStation. This was a really hard decision for me because the original Jak and Daxter is an amazing game by Naughty Dog, but equally Insomniac Games did something really great. Just with the arsenal of weapons in this game is insane, and I had so much fun playing it. I do replay this game every now and again, and have this remade for the PlayStation 4 for a whole new generation to enjoy. That was really cool. I really love it. Now for the PlayStation 3, man, I looked through this list, but there was one game that always stood out for me, and that's Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. I've always loved the first Uncharted game, but this Naughty Dog took it to another level with what they did in this game. The stories, the characters, just the set pieces in this game are so insane. I know we're getting a movie made into this series. I wish it would have been an animated movie with Nolan North doing the voice of Nathan Drake. I can't accept anybody else playing Nathan Drake, if you get me. It's just the way I am set in my ways, I guess. I don't know. But to me, Nolan North is always Nathan Drake. I don't care who they cast in the movie. It's not going to be the same for me. That's why I thought it would have been really good if they would have did this as an animated movie. Totally like what we see in these games. Just an amazing game. It's got to be one of my top 10 games of all time. Moving on to PlayStation 4. Again, it's no brainer for me. Uncharted: A Thief's End. What a great way to finish off the Nathan Drake character arc. Hoping that one day we may see another Uncharted game, even if Nolan North isn't in it. If they do the Chloe and all those other characters, that's okay, because I accepted those games. Finally, I got around to playing it this year and finishing it, and it was actually really cool. I did miss Nathan not being there, but once you get immersed in that gameplay, it's just, you totally forget about that. But this was a great game. Great way to finish off the whole story arc of Nathan Drake. Bittersweet in the end. I wanted to see more in the series. So that's it, guys. That is my favorite games on each of the PlayStation systems, including the handhelds, which Sony for some reason forgot to mention. They are still in the Sony family, and I have included them in my list here. So hey guys, yeah, thanks very much. We're in Christmas mode now. Racking my brain thinking, what can I put behind me? The tree's there. Why not? Just throw a couple of things on there. I got my Nights in the Dreams CD, which was a giveaway from Sony. We're in Sony mode. From Sega for Christmas back when it was released all those years ago. I still got this in the collection. It's just a great thing to have in the Saturn. So that's it, guys. That is that list done. And thanks very much for watching. And I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.